Oh, hello, and welcome back to Three Things with JR. And it's episode 117, and I've got some stuff to tell you. Before we get into three things, first off, The Sound of Music at Shannon Arts is ready to open. It opens this Friday, March 10th. We're doing 6 shows, 3 this weekend and 3 next weekend. Some shows are pretty close to sold out, so if you haven't got your tickets yet, go get them now at shannonarts.org. And if you don't remember, I'm playing a Nazi in The Sound of Music, and it turns out I'm a really good bad guy Nazi, especially now that I am fully in costume. So Herr Zeller, he is the main bad Nazi who, wants Georg von Trapp to accept his commission in the new Navy for Germany taking over Austria. And, von Trapp doesn't really want to do that. Doesn't even want to fly the flag of the Third Reich. And I've got to yell at him about that and tell him to sing. And I've got to do a bunch of really in-your-face, Heil type things. And I as part of my costume, I'm wearing a all black with a trench coat and a fedora, and I just kind of look like a badass Gestapo, gangster sort of a guy. And everybody on set's scared when they see me because I look imposing, and that's kind of what we're going for. So that's pretty fun. Now I am going to be wearing a red armband, kind of like Nazis used to do. But we are not going all the way with that. There's not going to be a swastika on it, which I think that's the right move. I'd rather there not be any images or anybody should ever see me wearing an actual swastika. It's close enough as it is. So, so there you go. Come see me, be a jerk, and more importantly, come see the rest of the cast do an amazing job. They are really coming together. The kids are awesome. The nuns are great. We've got a wonderful Maria, a wonderful Captain, a wonderful Max. If you're familiar with The Sound of Music, you know what I'm talking about. This show is going to be great. It is a big cast. 42 people in the cast alone, plus all of the people behind the scenes making it happen. The show's going to be great. You really should come see it. Get your tickets now or you're going to miss it. All right, let's do some things.
Thing number 1.
I'm getting old. I'm going to turn 49 this year, and, there are signs. There are signs that I'm getting old. For example, about 15 years ago, I started wearing contact lenses, and one of the main reason I wanted contact lenses was so I wouldn't have to wear glasses. I was just finally sick of dealing with glasses. In the last few years, and since I've switched over to wearing contacts, I have bought more pairs of glasses than I ever did when I actually wore glasses. When I wore glasses, I had one pair of glasses, and I would replace them every couple of years as my eyesight got a little worse, or as they just got old and needed to be replaced. Now, I have about 6 or 7 different pairs of sunglasses, and more importantly, it seems like every time I go to Walmart, I grab another pair of reading glasses, so I can have reading glasses wherever I need them. So, my contacts do a great job for 90% of what I need to do in a day. Even looking at my computer screen, I'm fine. I don't usually need my reading glasses, but looking at the small text on my phone or reading the mail or a book or anything like that, restaurants menus in restaurants, things like that. I pretty much need the reading glasses. So I keep a pair here at my desk. I keep a pair next to the couch where I watch TV. So if I want to look at my phone, I keep a pair next to my bed. So when I'm going to bed at night and I'm looking at my phone, I got my reading glasses or maybe reading a book. I keep a pair on my desk at work. I keep a pair in my car. I keep a pair in my truck. I'm just now realizing I need to put a pair in the bag on my motorcycle. which I don't ride all that much, but when I do and I go somewhere, I'm going to probably stop at a restaurant and get some food. I'm probably going to want reading glasses for that. I need a pair in the bathroom. I just realized I don't have a pair in there. I'm always carrying a pair in, and then I got to put them back, and then I forget where my reading glasses are. These are signs, right, that I'm getting old. I mean, clearly, 49 is not the oldest thing in the world, but there are signs that I'm acting my age. So it's getting harder to stay up late at night, for example. Tonight I went to a movie all by myself. These are things old people do, right? So I'm still waiting for that thing where old people get up early in the morning, like just naturally. That's not happening for me yet. And I have to get up relatively early for work, but if I don't have to get up, I'm not getting up. And from what I understand, many, many, many old people just naturally just get up early in the morning. I don't think that's going to happen to me, but if it does, I will know that I am very, very old, which I guess is better than the alternative. I've always enjoyed getting old. I've always enjoyed, the next phase of life. So many people seem to want to stay young. I don't. I'm totally fine with getting older. It's the things I want to do change. The things I can do definitely have changed. I'm a lot more careful every single day so as to not hurt myself. But I've never minded getting older. I've wiser, more mature. That seems to finally be happening in many ways. I'm more mature than I ever was. And those of you that know me know that that's saying something. So yeah, getting old. And I'm okay with it. I'm liking it. I hope to continue doing that. Probably should move on to thing number 2 now.
Thing number 2.
All right. Let's talk about the next show I'm going to be a part of. But before we get into that, I want to take you back to December 1986. It's later December, and there's 2 movies in theaters that are key to this story. 2 movies released within a week of each other. One of them was The Three Amigos, starring Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short. I have loved Steve Martin ever since I can remember. I've been listening to his stand-up comedy on cassette tape since apparently I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I used to have it entirely memorized. Fantastic comedian. I wish he still did regular stand-up comedy, but I've been a Steve Martin fan since before I can remember, really. So I was all in on going to see The Three Amigos, which was a very funny movie, but very stupid as well. Just to remind you a little bit about how that movie went, here's the trailer. Here's the original trailer from The Three Amigos that came out in December of 1986.
Let's ride!
The Three Amigos. They were the biggest stars of their day.
The Three Amigos are history.
But that was yesterday.
Look, boys, I know show business. Something always turns up. Telegram for the Three Amigos.
Come with me where moonbeams paint the sky.
Who are you?
The Three Amigos!
Arriba! I like this guy. They are funny guys. Just kill one of them.
Steve Martin. Chevy Chase.
Do you have anything besides Mexican food?
Martin Short. The Three Amigos.
Dusty.
Sorry.
You're so brave.
Three Amigos.
I'll come back one day.
Why?
I remember seeing that movie like it was yesterday. I was in one theater at the Multiplex, a 12 auditorium movie theater near my house where I grew up in Falls Church, Virginia. And in another auditorium, my parents went to see a different movie, a movie I didn't really know anything about at the time, but also starred Steve Martin, or maybe I should say featured Steve Martin. He wasn't the main character. He was in a supporting role, and he killed it. In fact, when my parents came out of this movie, I asked them how it was, and they said, well, it was okay. It was kind of stupid, except the Steve Martin was hilarious. And here's the trailer for that movie.
Now, the most menacing musical comedy ever to paint the silver screen green. Little Shop of Horrors.
Where did you get such a weird flavor?
Thrilled to the romance.
Will you marry me?
Witness the drama.
You'll be a dad. You have a talent for causing things.
I've been saving all month for this. I think I need a root canal. I'm sure I need a long, slow root canal.
Feed me, cowboy! Feed me now! Savor the spectacle of the first plant in motion picture history ever to sing for its supper.
I'm just a mean green mother from outer space and out there.
Starring Rick Moranis, Ellen Greene, Vincent Gardenia, with a special appearance by Steve Martin, James Belushi, John Candy,
Comfy?
and Bill Murray.
It's your professionalism that I respect.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, my parents didn't love it when they came out of it, but loved the Steve Martin part. I was intrigued by that, and I believe I went and I got the VHS as soon as it came out. We rented it, and I watched it, and I don't know if I knew or understood what was going on in most of the movie, but I loved the Steve Martin part, no doubt about it. So I saw it when I was somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 or 13, and liked it then, and then didn't think a whole lot more about it. And then not too long ago, Kiki and me watched the movie again, and I was reminded of just how wonderful it is. And then not too long ago, Kiki and I went, in fact, last summer, Kiki and I went to see it, as it has been, it's been on off Broadway in New York City for the past year or so, and it starred Christian Borle as the dentist, he's fantastic. I love him. He was Shakespeare in Something Rotten. If you listen to this show, you know I'm a big fan of Something Rotten and a huge fan of Christian Borle. So he did a fantastic job as dentist, hilarious. And so here's the deal. The Wayne Theater in Waynesboro, Virginia is doing Little Shop of Horrors. And when I found this out last year, I was very excited. And I knew then that I would be auditioning for it, but I had to figure out what roles would I want to play in Little Shop of Horrors. So I'm clearly not a Seymour, right? Nobody looks at me, no matter how good the costume and makeup might ever be, nobody looks at me and sees a Seymour. I know that. So not going for Seymour. Plus, that Seymour has to sing, and I mean really sing. And I can sing, but not quite like that. So what's next? Well, how much fun would it be to be the voice of Audrey 2, the plant? This role would be fun. I'd be standing off stage. The audience would never see me, except maybe I'd come out for a bow at the end. But standing off stage, singing into a microphone, giving the plant its voice, which is every production of it that I've ever heard, the plant sounds black, like a black person is singing and soulfully singing, and just killing it. And so I wasn't quite sure I could do that and do the role justice. So I was actually kind of relieved when the Wayne Theater announced that they had hired a professional singer to be the voice of Audrey 2. So going into the audition, I knew that I was going to go for either the dentist, Oren Scrivelli, or Mushnick, the owner of the shop in Little Shop of Horrors. I felt I could pull off either one of those. And in really thinking about it, I think I'm more of a Mushnick than I am a dentist. Because, I mean, as much as I wanted to do that Steve Martin role, I thought that I could really do Mushnick justice and do it better than I could do the dentist role. So I went into the audition really thinking that I was going for Mushnick. So I went in, I had to sing 2 songs for the audition. I chose If I Were a Rich Man from the Fiddler on the Roof. And when I found out I wasn't going to be trying to sing for and audition for The Plant, I changed my second audition song to Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane from Chicago. And I'm pretty sure I did pretty good at those songs. I sang them the way I wanted to at audition and put on a good show. Got a callback. Came back the next night. And in the callback email, it said, we're calling you back for 2 roles, the dentist and Mushnick, which is kind of what I wanted. But I hadn't been really thinking, oh, I'm going to get the dentist role, or that I even had a chance at it. So I was really thinking Mushnick for the past month or 2. So going into callbacks, they gave us a couple songs to sing and some script sides, some scenes to read for both Mushnick and the dentist. And I really went in and I went for it, man. I practiced both songs for both roles like 400 times that day after work and heading to the audition. I brought my leather jacket and my sunglasses to kind of look like the dentist when I was really going for the dentist. And I feel like I put on another pretty good show. There was lots of fun. I came out of that thinking that audition and that callback was the most fun I'd had doing an audition and a callback. So I was really happy with my performance. But here's the thing. There was another guy there who was going for the role of Mushnick. And when I looked at him and saw him, he kind of looks and sounds exactly like Mushnick. Like I would be acting to look and sound like Mushnick, whereas he kind of just naturally does. And he can sing and he can act. And he's really good. His name is Rob. He's going to be your Mushnick, not me. He got the role. What about the dentist? I was going for it, man. I really wanted to be a dentist. Another bad guy? That would be a 3rd bad guy role in a row, right? Don in Kinky Boots, kind of an asshole. And now I'm currently playing a Nazi in Sound of Music. And the dentist? Oh, boy, that would have been a nice, juicy role. But here's the thing. There was at least 1 or 2 other guys there also going for dentist. And a guy named Adam and a guy named Logan. And boy, I was watching Logan going, oh gosh, I do not envy the people that have to make the casting decisions for this show, because I'm pretty sure I did pretty good. Like they were probably strongly considering me for the dentist, but they ended up going with Logan. So I'm not the dentist. I'm not Mushnick. I'm not Seymour. Who else is there to play in Little Shop of Horrors? Now, most of the productions of Little Shop of Horrors that I've seen on stage, not the movie, but on stage, the actor that plays the dentist also plays several other sort of ensemble roles. Like he plays a wino in the opening song, and then he plays a couple different characters that come in and offer Seymour incredible opportunities because of his crazy plant. And so normally the dentist actor plays those roles, but that's not what we're doing here at the Wayne. In this production, I'll be playing all of those roles. So in the opening of the show, when they're singing the song Skid Row, a wino sits up and in a deep voice he goes, "That's when you go downtown." So I get to be that deep voiced wino, and I get to be the guy from NBC and the guy from what is it? The agency that wants to hire him for lecturing tours. I'm going to get to play a woman, Mrs. Luce, the editor's wife for Life magazine. And cool. I hope I get to wear some heels and something super gaudy for that one, because that's going to be great. I'm just going to lean hard into all of this. And I was also offered another opportunity that I think is kind of cool. It's going to be a lot of work, but they asked if I would be an understudy for both Mushnick and the dentist. So I had to think about this, right? Do I want to drive over the mountain 4 times a week for rehearsals for small roles, not the roles I wanted, and then also a lot of work to understudy for 2 major roles that I may never get to do on stage, right? So, is that worth all of the time and effort and energy it's going to take to fulfill the duties that I have been offered for Little Shop of Horrors at the Wayne? And I asked for a day to think about it, and I did. I thought about it quite a bit. However, I got to say, I knew I was going to say yes during the offer. I just didn't want to say yes without thinking about it. My gut reaction was, yes, do it. But what is an understudy? What does an understudy do? I mean, I kind of understand what they do, right? They fill in for another actor. But it's apparently, a lot of work. So I just Googled it. I kind of knew I didn't really learn anything new, but just so you know, in case you don't know what an understudy does, an understudy is typically a regular member of the cast, like somebody that might appear in the chorus or the ensemble, but they have also learned at least one of the leading roles. And so they learn the lines, the vocals, blocking, choreography for at least one other principal role. And I've seen like video blogs from people on Broadway talking about the understudies and how somebody might understudy for 3 or 4 roles. Like they could fill in for any one of the main actors if needed. If somebody gets sick or has a problem or an emergency or whatever, an understudy has to be ready. And apparently, actors affectionately refer to an understudy's first time on stage as shove with love, because the other performers gently guide the newbie, making sure they hit all their marks. That's from a Broadway and Hollywood website quote that I got when I Googled, what does an understudy do? And then there's some tips on how to be a good understudy also in the Google search results. So here's 6 things that you should do to be a good understudy. Number 1, be highly organized. Whether you're a first-time swing or a veteran, being organized is key to your success. So, I think I need to go in there and be ready to take notes, be prepared to learn, to listen, to watch, to observe, and soak in as much of it as possible so that I'm ready to go at a moment's notice. Number 2, focus on one track at a time. I think a track is like, what does one character do all throughout the show? And in my particular case, one track is the main one that I will be doing on stage, which is basically like 4 or 5 different characters. That's one track. Another track might be Mushnick. Let's say our Mushnick is sick and I need to take over for Mushnick. I need to be ready to focus on that. So don't try to focus on doing Mushnick and the other roles at the same time. Or I might have to fill in for the dentist, which would be an interesting thing to do because the dentist actor actually does all the other roles that I will already be doing. So if I get to fill in for Logan as the dentist, then I would be able to do the dentist and all the other stuff, which would be awesome. So there's that. Number 3, get all perspectives. So kind of looking at the show from every angle and understanding every actor's role and motivation for all the things they do. And number 4, note the little things. Again, attention to detail. Number 5, bring yourself to the stage. I don't know. I mean, that's not just an understudy thing. Isn't that everybody on the stage? I don't know. I don't know how that's special to being an understudy, but I plan to bring myself to the stage. And number 6, go over at least one track once a week. I think probably rehearsing every single track as much as possible, but one at a time. So I'll be thinking about what will I do if I have to be the dentist, going over the track, all of the scene changes, all of the costume changes, all of what I have to do in each scene if I'm playing the dentist and all the other roles, or what am I doing if I am Mushnik. So there you go. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be learning Mushnik, learning the dentist, and being all the other ensemble characters in Little Shop of Horrors at the Wayne. And rehearsals begin this Sunday, and I will not be there. I will be, in fact, by the time this episode drops, this will have already happened. We are in Tech Week for Sound of Music, so I've got rehearsal. We did a double rehearsal on Sunday, and then a full run of the show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and show opens this coming Friday night, and then I'll be out of the show. The Sunday's a matinee, so I'm gonna get out of that and head straight over to the Wayne, and that will be my first rehearsal for Little Shop of Horrors, is 1 week into their rehearsals. So I'm gonna be putting myself behind the 8 ball here to get caught up to speed on all 3 tracks of what I got to do for Little Shop of Horrors, and then. There's only 1 weekend of Sound of Music left, so I'll be able to go to more rehearsals for Little Shop, and then after Sound of Music closes on March 19th, I'm all in on Little Shop of Horrors. We will be rehearsing like crazy until opening night, which is the last weekend in April. Second weekend, which is the first weekend in May. That's when we're performing Little Shop of Horrors. So I've seen at least a couple of the other roles and the actors that got them, and they are incredible. I hope to live up to their standards, to the bar that they have already set in these callbacks and these auditions. I'm very excited to be working with them, with Leslie, Sarah, and Corey at the Wayne to be putting this show on. Pretty excited. So there you go. Boy, that was a long one. Thing number 2. That was a big one. So that was kind of the main point of today's show. I guess I'll go ahead and do a thing number 3, spinach balls. I don't know why this is thing number 3, but I did have to make some spinach balls tonight, and it's one of my favorite things to cook and prepare and, of course, eat. What are they? Here's the deal. Google spinach balls. You could also Google easy spinach balls recipe. And you'll be looking at the same recipe I follow when I make spinach balls. It's basically spinach, some stuffing mix, some eggs, some butter, some garlic, some Parmesan cheese, and some other like Italian seasonings. You mash them all up, mix it all together, make these little balls, bake them in the oven. And when they come out, they are, they're savory. They're fantastic. I mean, I just love them. My family made spinach balls for a couple different special occasions. If we were doing like a Super Bowl party type of thing, spinach balls. If we were having a New Year's Eve get together, spinach balls. And I recently, last summer, made them for when we were doing Kinky Boots at Shannon Arts. We had a double tech day, which you typically have, everybody bring like a potluck situation between you're running the show twice in one day. So you take a break and have a meal together in the middle of it. And I brought spinach balls for that, and they went over really well. There were no spinach balls left for me to bring home. So I figured I'd do that again, because tomorrow, as I'm recording this, it's Saturday night. As you're listening to it, 2 days ago was Double Tech for Sound of Music, and made spinach balls tonight, and I'm excited for everybody to get to try them. And part of me hopes that everybody at Sound of Music hates spinach balls so that I can bring them all home and eat them myself. And what I typically do, if I make a big batch of spinach balls, and I did actually, I made a big batch during the Super Bowl, so I had spinach balls to eat while watching the big game, and I had spinach balls left for lunches and snacks for the next several days, because you don't just make a few spinach balls. You make a bunch of balls. As many spinach balls as you can fit on 2 big trays in the oven. That's how many I make. It's typically around 30 or 40 spinach balls. And let me tell you, for about a week, if you're eating spinach balls every day for about a week, your poop gets really green. It changes color from what your poop might normally look like. It looks like you've been eating spinach balls every day. So there you go. That's the show. Three Things with JR. Thank you so much for hanging out and listening to me ramble on at you. I hope you're enjoying this. You may have noticed there was no ad in today's show. I got an email from Anchor saying, hey, that thing we've been doing where we sponsor your show because you were brand new. Yeah, the standards for that are higher now. You have to have more listeners, more subscribers. And when you do, we will be glad to sponsor your show and maybe even match you up with some other sponsors. But I don't have enough to do that. I need more people to listen to this show. So if you're still listening, you're a super fan, please tell somebody else about the show. Tell them about how much fun it is to listen to. And maybe tell them also about our other show, Small Things Considered, that I do with Gary Hawthorne. It alternates with this show every other Tuesday. Both are pretty fun shows. We just did a great one. You should go listen to the last episode of Small Things Considered. It's called Do Your Thing, and it's all about bands that have changed their names. And there's been some big ones, like when Lady Antebellum changed their name to Lady A. Did they know there was an artist already named Lady A? Either way, they found out, and there was lawsuits and stuff like that. And we talk a lot about that and a whole bunch of other bands that changed their names. There's some bands that had great names that started off with some pretty horrible band names. And so Gary and I ruminate on that for about an hour or so. Check it out. Check out this show. Tell friends about it. Subscribe. If your podcast player lets you subscribe or follow, please do that. If it lets you write a review, like on Apple Podcasts, please do that. It really helps. It could raise the show up. It might get more traction. More people might see it and hear of it, and that would be awesome for me. So, and maybe awesome for you, because that would motivate me to continue doing this and making the show, knowing there's people out there listening. So thanks again. Thanks to you, the listener, for hanging out with me again this week. I'm over and out. We'll see you next week with another episode of Small Things Considered. Love you. See you next time.